In the last video, we customized our Astro site, and now it's all set to go live. Ready to ship it to Vercel? There are two important points here. One is setting up the project's initial configuration in Vercel. The other is that since we're working in SSG mode, that is, we build the site at deployment time and serve static HTML and CSS, how to make it so that when we publish new content in Content Island, a new deployment is triggered automatically. Let's get to work. The first step before deploying is to have the project on GitHub. To do that, we create a new repository, and we'll name it My Site. I'll set it as private. So you can see that deployment can be done from either a private or a public repo. And I'm going to click on the Create Repository button. We copy the repo URL so we can use it later on. Let's go back to our project in Visual Studio Code. In this case, I have the development server running. I'm going to stop it. And I'm going to initialize a local Git repo in our project folder. To do that, I run git init, git add dot to stage all the files, and git commit -m to commit those recently made changes. And the next step is to link this local repository to the remote one we just created and push. I go back to the terminal and run git remote at origin and paste the remote repository URL. And in the next step, I run git push uorigin main. If we go back to GitHub, we can see that the repository has already been uploaded. Let's go to vercel.com. If you don't have an account, you can create a free one. We click on Add New Project. If this is your first time using Vercel, it will ask you to choose the platform where your repositories are hosted, whether it's GitHub, Bitbucket, or GitLab. In our case, we already had GitHub selected, so we're going to click here on Install to set it up. We click Authorize Vercel to access our GitHub. Importantly, here I'm going to specify that I want it to have access to a specific repository. I don't want it to have access to all repositories. That's a good idea because it reduces your attack surface. I click on Select Repositories, and here I'm going to type My Site. Here it is. Now let's authorize it. We click on Import, and Vercel automatically detects that it's an Astro project. What's more, it pre-configures the build commands, the output directory, the install command, and if it doesn't fit our needs, we could configure it ourselves. Another section where we can add configuration is in environment variables. This is important because in VS Code, we had our Content Island access token in the .env file, so we need to copy the label here. And for the value of that label, we simply go to our project, open the General tab, locate the token, copy it, and then paste it right here. Important, don't share that token with anyone. We click on Deploy, and the build and deployment process begins. Our site is now set up. Go ahead and click Continue to Dashboard. And here you can see that it has created a test domain for us, mysite9.vercel.app. We can navigate to it. And here is our site in production. Would like to use a custom domain? This post from Vercel explains how to add your own domain. Whether you purchase it through Vercel or configure it through an external provider. Everything's great, but I want new posts to show up on my site. automatically as soon as I publish them. So we're going to set up a webhook that lets Content Island tell Vercel to kick off a new deploy whenever there's fresh content. Let's jump back to Vercel and open the project settings. In the sidebar, we choose Get. We scroll down and look for deploy hooks. Let's create a new one. For the name, we can enter, for example, Content Island Deploy. We specify that the branch it should operate on is the main branch. Then we click Create Hook, and it generates a hook URL for us. I'm going to copy it. I go back to Content Island. I click on the Webhook tab. I click to add a new webhook, choose Vercel. I give it a name, for example, Content Island Deploy. And in the URL field, I paste the Vercel webhook URL. I click Save. And now, each time we publish new entries in Content Island, a new deployment will be triggered automatically in Vercel, and our website will be updated with the latest content. Let's try it out. I go to the Content tab and choose, for example, Post Entity and this post. And I'm going to change its title. I'm going to add new here. Let's publish it. Now I go to Vercel, click on Deployments, and notice that there's already an active deployment. So basically, I published in Content Island, and it pinged Vercel saying, hey, there are changes, run a new build and deploy. If we wait a bit, the build completes and gets deployed. It's ready now. And if we go to our site and refresh, you'll see that the word new will now be displayed right here when you refresh the page. And from now on, all you have to worry about is creating good content on Content Island. Everything else takes care of itself.